Thank you for joining me. I'm meteorologist Brian Shields, and thank you for putting a like on the videos and subscribing. It does help spread this information, so thank you for taking the time to subscribe and do that. Now, I want to get into the alert zones with this. We're going to dive right into it. The computer models, what I'm seeing out there in the atmosphere, but the European and the American models, and I want to go island by island now with some of the rain totals with this. And you can see the big flare-up, exactly what we've been talking about for days and days now, right near Colombia, northern Venezuela. Some of this moisture getting closer to the ABC Islands. It'll be a close call on Aruba, Curacao, and Bonaire on how much rain we get. So I want to get into that, and then we'll lift to the points up to the north. But let me start with the alert zones, and this is kind of an action mode for flooding. We're not talking about a hurricane or tropical storm, but we very well know in the Caribbean, an unnamed system that dumps a lot of rain could bring us a life-threatening flood situation. It's not for all of us, it is for some of us, but this is action mode for us now in Haiti, the Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, and the British and U.S. Virgin Islands. Jamaica, I'm watching us carefully, looks like the heaviest rain would be just to the east, but it's going to be close. But I know you've been watching these videos and spreading this video across Jamaica, so you're aware. And that's the biggest thing, is just the awareness in case the weather does change, because we know the weather changes, and the ABC Islands, we're also in monitor mode as well as some of this moisture lifts up to the north. But we're taking those flood preps if you can. We all have different means in Haiti, the Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, and the U.S. and British Virgin Islands. Let me start here. This is the setup with the European model. This is today, and you can see that rain moving in to the central sections of the Caribbean. Here's Jamaica, here's Cuba, here's Haiti, the Dominican Republic, Turks and Caicos, and the Bahamas. Here's Florida right here. Belize, way too dry. I've had a lot of problems in Belize with power outages because of how dry it's been and how hot it's been. Back here, we're watching a front in the United States, and these are tied together. All of this is tied together on what's going on in the Caribbean. One front here as well, that one's leaving, but there's no strong area of high pressure. There's no blocker, so that allows this moisture in Colombia and Venezuela to lift to the north. And then look what happens on our Wednesday, widespread rain breaking out. Now, anywhere from Jamaica, eastern Cuba, points off toward the northeastern Caribbean, even close to, say, Antigua and Barbuda, Anguilla, we'll see that chance of rain, but the highest will be right in the middle. Here's this front dropping in across the U.S., and that allows this moisture to lift up to the north. So this is kind of helping to steer this up to the north. It's getting caught on the tail end of one front and just out ahead of another one. So that brings all this rain in. But the bullseye looks to be over toward Hispaniola in Puerto Rico. Then this here, let me stop it here. This is on Thursday. You can see right at the core of this, a lot of rain still around, but some of it shifting to the north. Just to the north of Hispaniola, that would be really the center of this. And right in here, there's still a chance it develops into something kind of subtropical in nature or a brief tropical storm. Can't be ruled out, but regardless of that, name or no name, the forecast on track for some of the heavier weather. But right in there, there's the core. It does have a slight chance of spinning up as we work our way into Thursday and Friday. So yes, it could become a classified system, but regardless, heavier rain, the core lifts to the north, but still the tail end of it bringing in rain. And the issue will be late week on Friday, while a lot of the rain cuts off, there's still going to be a few areas of rain. And you see it here. There's the system getting closer to Bermuda, but still some trailing moisture. It's hard to tell where that will set up, but that's going to be an issue, because if we get some bands of rain even on Friday over areas that have been flooding, we're going to get more flooding. And you can see some extra moisture right in here, Puerto Rico, back through the Dominican Republic and Haiti, all the way into Friday. So we've got a long haul with a major flood maker moving in. Now, here's a different look. This is the American model, and it's almost exactly the same as the European model, which gives me high confidence. Now, Aruba, Curacao, and Bonaire, very close to the heavy rain. I'm still not quite sure. The core of it is just to the west, but sometimes you get some of this moisture that will be feeding in. But you've been watching the videos, you've been spreading these videos across the ABC Islands, so flooding's not going to catch us off guard at this point. But right on the edge of it, tomorrow we'll have an even better chance of rain. Tonight and tomorrow across the ABC Islands. Then the heaviest rain starts to work in, starting tomorrow morning in parts of Haiti, the DR, and Puerto Rico, and even Jamaica. You see how it's such a close call. We're on the edge of it. all of this well off to the east of the Cayman Islands, but Jamaica, any little shift back into our direction would increase the chance of rain. Right now, it's looking like on Wednesday afternoon, we're talking about the heavier rain moving in. This is later in the day on Wednesday. Dominican Republic and then over toward Puerto Rico, the two spots that have the highest probability of getting the flooding rain. So we're taking those precautions. Very dangerous river conditions. We're going to see dangerous river crossings, Puerto Rico, back through the DR, even into Haiti. So those river crossings can be deadly. It just takes not about this much of water, right? This much, a foot of water, whatever your unit of measurement is, to kind of sweep vehicles away. Then as we get into Thursday and Friday, I mentioned how the bulk of it tries to lift to the north, but still some of these bands of rain. And look at that in Puerto Rico. If that sets up, that would not be good at all, because we'd start to get some of the rain working in tomorrow, then on Thursday, and somewhere we're going to see another leftover band of rain on Friday. That could be 3 days worth of rain for some of us, and that would mean some extreme flooding and life-threatening flooding. Now, here's a closer look. Let me zoom down. So Cayman Islands, Jamaica, here's eastern Cuba, Turks and Caicos, Haiti, Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, and closer to the Virgin Islands. This here shows, by the time we hit tomorrow morning, there's the core of it lifting in, and the brighter colors are those big-time downpours. And I'll show you the island-by-island totals in a second. Then as we go throughout the day on Wednesday, that surge of moisture just lifting in, heavy tropical rain, parts of Haiti, Dominican Republic, and Puerto Rico. At this point, we are going to have flooding. A lot of the rivers are already and still swollen from some of the rain we had before. That's why this is such a bad setup. We've had flooding in these areas. Some spots have not had rain, others have had too much. And then on Thursday, these bands of rain still working in as the system lifts to the north, and that higher risk of flooding. Dominican Republic and Puerto Rico on Thursday. And then I mentioned even on Friday, some of that moisture could be trying to feed in from the south. So it could be a solid 2 to 3 days of some rain. Now, I'll get to the island by island totals in a second. Will it spin up into a tropical depression or a tropical storm? Well, looking at the winds in here, this is by tomorrow afternoon. Some of the winds just kind of gusty with this system, 56 kilometers an hour, 35 miles per hour. Then you see some of the whites trying to show up. We could have some gusts at 80 kilometers an hour, 50 miles per hour. But late on Thursday, a little bit of a spin here close to the Turks and Caicos, just to the east of the Turks and Caicos, and then lifting up to the north. Nothing showing things super organized, but there is still a small chance that this does wrap up into a tropical entity, and then this will lift closer to Bermuda. Some of the models kind of kick it out to sea, but closer to Bermuda by the time we get into the weekend. Now, let me go island by island, zoom down to different locations. So hang with me on this, and then I want to get to the seas and the forecast. Here's Colombia, Venezuela, Aruba, Curacao, and Bonaire. ABC Islands right through here. See how eastern Venezuela, we are drier, even over toward Trinidad and Tobago, but this is the core of the rain. And you see how close we are in Aruba. Some of the heaviest rain, we're talking 150 millimeters of rain or 6 inches of rain. It is going to be so close. So it is best to continue to monitor this and take some of the flood preps. It's always safe to do so across the ABC Islands, because if any of this rain just shifts in, we're not talking about an ordinary rain, but this is going to be some heavy stuff that will be around. Now, as we get toward Jamaica on the edge of it, you see, we'll see some scattered showers and storms the next few days. Rain chance a little higher, 25 millimeters or an inch of rain if you get some. But the core of the rain is not far away, so any shift into our direction could bring more rain. But as of now, heaviest would be just off toward the east. Speaking of which, here's Haiti, get over toward Jacmel, and then especially across the DR, Santo Domingo, Punta Cana, you see this heavy, heavy core of rain. This is life-threatening stuff. This isn't even on my chart. The black shading in here is 150 millimeters of rain. So when you see these yellows and reds popping up, we're talking about over 300 millimeters of rain. That's over a foot of rain. That's going to happen somewhere. It could be a little bit more over here, or it could shift a little bit more toward Puerto Rico. But somewhere in this area over the next 3 days, taking here, especially tomorrow, Thursday, and even into Friday, we're going to see that life-threatening flood situation. Bad setup with this. again, the river crossings really impassable. So if you're near them, you could get swept away. We want no one getting swept away in this system. Again, the rivers are going to really bounce up very quickly. Please use caution. Structures around the rivers are going to take on water. It'd be best to monitor it very closely. Thank you for sharing this information. We get back toward Puerto Rico, watching the heaviest rain, which will be very close by all the way through Thursday. You can see kind of the purple shadings here, 50 millimeters to 75 millimeters of rain. This does include over toward, say, St. John, St. Thomas, St. Croix, British and U.S. Virgin Islands. That's 2 to 3 inches of rain. That's kind of the general feel through Thursday. There could be an additional 2 to 3 inches of rain on Friday, depending on those bands on the bottom side of this moving in. So on the edge of some of the heaviest stuff, I do expect some big issues with the power grids in this. Watching near the rivers, again, please don't want anyone getting swept away in this. So watching the higher terrain and then the runoff moving to the coastal section. So a high likelihood of flooding in Puerto Rico, and even watching the British and U.S. Virgin Islands. St. Croix, we had flooding really just days ago, and then we have this event moving in. And you could see it here. This is the seas and how they build. Nothing too crazy, but this shows you kind of where the storm system is. 2 to about 3 meters for today. That would be upwards of about 10 feet. And then as we work our way into tomorrow, the seas are going to build 3, almost 4 meters. And then the system works in over toward Hispaniola and Puerto Rico on our Friday, and then our Thursday, and then on Friday, I should say. This is Friday. You can see the core of this lifting up to the north, and then the seas building closer to Bermuda by the time we get into Sunday. So that's kind of the trajectory of this system lifting through, and it is all tied together what's going on in the U.S. By the way, a huge system building back toward Missouri, over toward parts of Iowa, and moving back toward Illinois today, Wisconsin. A big severe weather threat here. That's the front I was talking about. Here's that other front. This moisture is starting to get pulled into that front, and then this front moves in, helping to draw that moisture in. Let me show you that right here. This is that severe weather later today approaching the Chicago area here. So we have one system here. Here's the tail end of the front, helping to draw in some of the moisture. Look at that as we work our way into our Wednesday. You see how the weather's tied together. This moisture lifts in, and then this front here, the severe weather threat, will shift over toward Arkansas tomorrow in the U.S., and because that's there, that will help to kind of keep this moisture over here lifting up toward Bermuda. But you see that huge plume of moisture coming out of Colombia, Venezuela, near the ABC Islands, lifting all the way up toward Bermuda as we work our way into our Thursday. And then on Friday, you see this system here, that front here, severe weather threat once again in parts of the U.S., and there's that rain getting closer to Bermuda. I'm still not sure how close it gets as we work our way into the upcoming weekend. I'll be watching that. Big flare-ups over here. Not seeing anything organized, but this is the Eastern Pacific. Here we are in El Salvador, Costa Rica, Panama, Nicaragua, Guatemala, Mexico, and Belize. This over here flaring up. No signs of development now, but the Eastern Pacific getting more active, at least tropical-wise. Best chance of rain, Costa Rica, Panama. Still watching out for some flooding rain. Not as much elsewhere, and watching out for those huge issues in parts of Belize. I was seeing some notices with some schools closed. It is a huge issue right now in Belize and other locations with the poor air quality and the drought conditions. Atlantic region of Canada, more unsettled today. We were talking about this yesterday. Then on Wednesday, kind of a break, still a few showers around, but as we get into Thursday, we'll see the next round of some of those showers squeaking by, coming out of New England, getting across Quebec, and then over toward New Brunswick, Nova Scotia, Prince Edward Island, and Newfoundland. A better chance of some of that rain working into Thursday. So Jamaica on the edge of all of this. I'm monitoring closely. If things shift back into our direction, I'll update that, of course. Right now, I'll keep it at about an even 50% chance of rain and storms. Keep me posted where you are. We could use some rain, but it looks like a lot of it will be off toward the east. But for some of us, this is not a rain we're going to want just because of the life-threatening situation. Cayman Islands, we could get a few showers passing by. Trinidad and Tobago, a few isolated showers. We've had some of the last few days. We definitely need to get more. There are some tropical waves trying to come off the coast of Africa that will eventually change the pattern. Barbados, we're going to see the rain chance ticking up on Thursday. Same thing in St. Lucia. A little more moisture will be feeding in as we get toward the end of the week. Rain chance in Grenada, 20 to 30%, 20 to 30% St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and a 20 to 30% chance the next 2 days in Martinique, bouncing up some though on Thursday, and then tomorrow and Thursday in Dominica, not a washout by any means, but the rain chance is 50%, and we'll have that 40% chance in Guadalupe, and even 30% chance Antigua and Barbuda. Rain chance about 30%, St. Kitts, Nevis, and Montserrat. Rain chance 30 to 40%, Anguilla and St. Bart's. And we're watching the system to see how close it gets. Same thing, St. Martin, Ceiba, and Statia. But you see that rain chance, Puerto Rico, it is going to get very high, especially later in the day tomorrow, and then working through tomorrow night, Thursday, and even into Friday. And we're watching that toward the U.S. and British Virgin Islands, that higher chance of some flooding rain. We're going to be on the edge of some of the heaviest stuff. Dominican Republic, taking those precautions right now, a very dangerous situation setting up with a very high risk of flooding, and some of that will be in parts of Haiti. Also watching out for those river crossings, the runoff in Haiti, and that mudslide potential. Bahamas, we're watching out for some scattered showers and storms the next few days, and that rain chance getting a little higher. Turks and Caicos, we'll see how much of this moisture will be feeding in late this week. Belize, we've been highlighting that. We have been too dry. Rain chance about 50% in Aruba. I'll leave it at 50%. It could be a lot higher, but we know that. We talked about that. We covered that. That core is so close to Aruba, Curacao, and Bonaire. So you're watching this, so you're good. We're watching this carefully. We'll just see how that rain kind of pumps in from Venezuela over the next really 2 days. Guyana, still watching out for some areas of flooding. Thank you for putting that in the comments. Same thing in Suriname. Rain chance about 70 to 80%. Cuba, this is mainly scattered afternoon and evening storms. Costa Rica and Panama, we've been watching that flood threat. Rain chance in Honduras is mainly inland and in our southern zones, kind of western and southern zones. Yucatan and Mexico, mainly on the dry side. In the rain chance about 40% in northern Venezuela. Of course, a lot more closer toward Colombia. In Bermuda, scattered showers with these fronts that are moving by. So this is a major flood event developing, life-threatening for some. I covered that. River flooding is likely, and it could develop into something tropical or subtropical, but regardless, we have this life-threatening flood situation moving in. So I do appreciate you so much. Just sharing this information to get the correct information out there, and I'll be watching this nonstop. You know I will. That's what I do, and I'll be getting to the comments as well as we go throughout the day. So thank you for subscribing and being part of this weather community as we get into events like this and the hurricane season. Please, please be safe and have a good rest of your day.